I'm Marley Caden. Our next guest is from Agilent Technologies, a key maker of instruments, software, and services for the pharma, life sciences, diagnostic, and applied chemical industries. The company recently reported a solid third quarter with shares up more than 11% in the past month. Joining us now is Agilent's president and CEO, Padraig McDonnell. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. First, could you just tell us more about Agilent and what it is you do?
Yeah, no, delighted to be on, and great to be here, Marley. So first of all, Agilent is a leader in analytical instruments, software services and consumables for life sciences, diagnostics and applied chemical markets. And you see our technologies help scientists unlock insights faster with precision and confidence. And of course, we're known for innovation, reliability, and getting labs in key lab workflows up and running. And we enable breakthroughs in cancer research, drug development, and other key areas. So we have a very broad range of application areas.
And you recently reported your third quarter earnings received a positive reaction from the street. Can you walk us through some of the highlights?
Yeah, so we had a strong third quarter. We grew 6.1% core growth. That was about $1.74 billion for the quarter, with an EPS of $1.37. And both revenue and EPS really exceeded expectations, marking the fifth consecutive quarter of growth acceleration, which was really great to see. And really what drove that was, I would say, excellence in our execution by the team. Innovations, our new products are really resonating with customers. The services team really having the best in the business with a greater than 90% satisfaction scores, and driving share gains while steady market improvements are happening. And just some of the highlights are pharma, our largest market, grew 9% overall. We grew 10% in chemical and advanced materials submarkets, and we grew 7% in our food markets.
And I know your PFAS division is one of your fastest growing, which tests for forever chemicals, and even just that term, I think, is scary for viewers to listen to. How important is this type of testing? And also, can you just explain what PFAS is?
Yeah, PFAS are forever chemicals. So they're chemicals that stay in water supply or food supply over many, many years, or materials. And our instruments really have the sensitivity and the workflows to test at a very, very high specificity. To give you a sense of that, it's like looking for a drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. So that's what our systems really look at. And you see that the PFAS market is growing extremely well. Broad-based double-digit growth. And I think what you're seeing is really pace of regulation that's happening, consumer awareness, right, of what is happening in the food, and particularly in areas, and chemical and advanced materials, semiconductors test for PFAS in terms of raw materials that come in. And we expect this is a long-term driver for the company, but a very, very important area, of course, for the globe.
And speaking of the globe, you have a long-standing relationship in China and a very heavy presence there. How have tariffs impacted the business?
Yeah, well, for many decades, we've been in China, in key markets. We had a very solid quarter in China. Our team's really staying close to our customers in China. And tariffs, of course, we've invested over a number of years in manufacturing in China for China. So we've been able to mitigate most of that. And of course, we've been able to mitigate most of it outside from China to the rest of the world with looking at supply chains and moving it around. And that was driven by our Ignite transformation, where we looked at being more effective around our supply chain and our manufacturing footprint. So we're in a very good position around tariffs in China.
And I saw a lot of mention, on your earnings call and in your earnings statements about this Ignite transformation. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, no, it's a company-wide initiative. It's going to last over 3 years. We're in our first year. It's helping to accelerate our pace, and we're going to continue to drive gains around it. Ignite is embedded in how we operate internally for long-term value creation, and things like how do we make faster decisions, and how do we get asymmetric investment into the right areas to make sure we increase our pace of innovation. And it's going to continue to be a long-term driver, both in incremental benefits, both on growth and margin. And we expect, for example, this year, Ignite was critical in mitigating tariffs, which we're going to have fully mitigated during 26 and beyond, and should provide a tailwind into 26.
And with this tariff discussion continuing, we have seen certain companies get some offset because they've become part of the onshoring efforts here in the U.S. Is Agilent involved in any of the onshoring efforts here?
Yeah, so from our, of course, we've invested in a number of our sites here that we can have dual manufacturing. Some of our product lines from Europe are now being manufactured in the US. We have a big manufacturing footprint in the US where we've had capacity, so we're expanding that to really mitigate tariffs as we go forward. And of course, our customers, particularly our pharma customers, we have heard a lot about reshoring. We likely to see a benefit from that over the years as our instruments are critical in manufacturing QA/QC for a lot of laboratories that will be set up on these facilities.
And Padraig, I've seen you speak extensively and be quoted extensively about how important it is for Agilent to be customer first and that being your strategy. Why is that so important?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been a really customer-focused organization. We've had an extremely good connection with our customers, both commercial, but on our service side. And in this environment, it's really important that we create really great customer satisfactions. And it's not only the instrument. For example, that PFAS LCMS instrument that's detecting really low levels of PFAS. It's one thing having that instrument, but getting it up and running and productive around the science is really important. And that's what we mean by customer first. We've invested in a lot of application engineers, a lot of technical capabilities in the field, and we'll continue to do that as the markets improve.
Padraig, we appreciate you taking the time to speak with us on this Monday afternoon. That's again Padraig McDonnell, the President and Chief Executive Officer at Agilent Technologies.